Oh my god, good morning, y'all. Um, and for me, it's morning. It's like 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday or some bullshit. I don't know, man. But I was thinking about making a video about how to how to get yourself out of hell in life. Um, because at some point, I think most of us have a point in our lives where nothing is going our way. Everybody hates us. There's nothing we can do to get out, so we think. And you feel like you're destined to fail. You feel like you're destined to be lonely loser, whatever. And at one point in my life, I was there. Yeah, it was real. Um, and the three main things you have to think about when you're climbing out of hell, three main things, are body, mind, and soul, right? And back when I was in that place when I was 17, I had none of those three. I mean, obviously, excuse me for yawning, but there's more than those three things you need. Obviously, if you need money, if you need security, all those things, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not the guy to ask. If you want to make more money, go watch like Hamza or some bullshit. If you need more security, you get that with money. Um, but obviously, it's not just mind, body, and soul. Some people want a relationship. Some people want um a group of guys to just be around them and make sure they're gonna be okay. You know, sorry, I'm fucking yawning. It's early as shit for me. Um, but yeah, at one point, my rock bottom was 3 summers ago in 2021. And at that point, I had just been broken up with. I was working at a summer camp at a job I wasn't good at. It was manual labor. I was barely getting paid anything. For half of it, I was as sick as a dog. I didn't know what to do with myself. I got in trouble a lot there. Just it was bad. I was very unprofessional. I It wasn't good, but before that even, the relationship was good. I mean, there's a ton of problems with it, but I was happy with myself while I was in it because I was in it. That should be the main goal, is to not be happy because you're in a relationship, but be happy because you've done enough things with yourself to where a relationship isn't the number one thing to keep you happy. Um, I was so codependent on this girl for my personal happiness. And it was disgusting looking back. Like, don't get me wrong, like, she was beautiful. She was awesome. Um, but I was nothing without her. Um, Before this relationship, I always struggled with social skills. I'd never done anything difficult in my life. I was not funny. I was widely hated at my all boys fucking Catholic school. Um, Because it was just fucking annoying. Like, that's the truth. And if you're in high school and you're just annoying, you're gonna be fucking annoying for a while. And that's just how it is there. Oh my god. Yeah. If you're in high school and you're annoying, that's a whole nother thing to tackle. Because at that point, all you can really do is wait it out. Because if you have a reputation in high school, it's gonna be there for the rest of high school unless you change it extremely, right? Like, I wasn't really hated, really, senior year, because nobody really cared anymore. But I had to wait for all my peers to just grow the fuck up before that even happened. It's not gonna happen when you're 14, 15. Maybe a little bit when you're 16. But, yeah. But the first thing that happened when she broke up with me is I didn't know anything about myself. Because, again, like I said, my happiness is entirely dependent on her being there in my life. And she was really just my only friend. And it made me angry, it made me depressed, it made me all these things, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was constantly upset. And the first strategy I went to was make my life harder so I can come out better. And you're thinking, Harry, why the fuck? You were in a hard situation and you wanted to make it harder for yourself? You're like, huh? I'm like, yeah. If you make it harder for yourself, number one, you're not going to have as much time to think about what happened. Number two, if you set more goals for yourself, you're going to be happier in the end game, because if you do hard things, that's what makes us happy as humans, right? That's how we fucking fulfill our dreams, by just doing hard things, right? So at that time, first thing I did was like, I'm gonna try hard at school for fucking once. I'm gonna get a job while I'm in that school. I'm gonna find a sport that I like and stick to it. And those three things took me a long way. I had a little bit of money. I had a little bit of doing hard things. And I was, distracting myself from something I can't really hide from. At some point, I knew I had to process the whole thing, but I just didn't want to. I'd say the real kicker of this whole period of my life is I had really serious identity issues. Like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know why I wanted to be it. I was just so in touch with my feminine side because I hadn't done anything hard in my life. And it was like consuming me, and I didn't really know why I was doing that. So I didn't really stop doing that for a while. That's a weird topic to talk about. Especially now, like 2 years later, just being like, what the fuck was that kid doing? Exploring his feminine side? Like, I get it, maybe every once in a while. Cool, whatever. I don't know. If you're in, like, Austin, go out and wear a dress one day. Who cares? But I didn't even show anybody that. Except for maybe, like, a couple people. And they looked like they were just, like, pretending to make me feel happier. But at some point, I did cut my hair back to normal, about, this length. And I, stuck with masculinity, and it felt right, I mean, most of us, probably not all of us as men, just feel better just being masculine. And I got a lot of weight off my chest just knowing, like, yeah, I can be comfortable with me being masculine. Even if the world tells me that it's not that good, it is. It's okay. Just be masculine. And at that point, I was looking at colleges and stuff. And I was like, I need to find a place where barely anybody knows me from before this, so I can start from square one. And yeah, like, after this point, it'd been about a year, maybe a little bit less than a year, than I got broken up with. I still had no girls that liked me. The only things that improved in my life were I did a few hard things. I got my 2nd-degree black belt. I got my Eagle Scout. I had a job. I did a little bit of working out, but not anything remotely close to what I'm doing now. And I finished high school, right? I got out of there. I did have a few flings that summer, but nothing serious. I'm one of those people, I really enjoy serious relationships because I know it's reliable. It's something that I can grow upon, and I really enjoy that in general. But side tangent. That summer, I discovered a movement online. I'd heard about it a little bit prior, but this, I was like really committed to it. I started watching a guy on YouTube called Hamza, or Hamza, whatever, and all his videos are just like how to improve your life. I was like, what? You can just like do that? I'm like, yeah. You can just like stop wanking, like checking your chain, stop fucking doing things that are easy, just do things that are hard. Try really hard, study really hard. Exercise a lot with weights, and build yourself up. And I was like, that's awesome. And I tried it for a while. I was like, I'm gonna be the most fucking disciplined college freshman there ever was. And that dream didn't last for too long, but there was a point where I had like a checklist on my wall of different things, like, do the dishes, do laundry, take a cold shower or whatever. I don't know, whatever I was doing back then. And I followed that to a T for a while. And after doing this for like a few months, like my mental health was looking pretty good. I still didn't really have a solid group of friends at that point, but I was doing pretty okay by myself. I was starting to get into working out a lot more with my buddy Kabir. He taught me a lot of how to work out those 2 semesters, freshman year of college. I partied a little bit. I did really good in school. Studied a lot. And then at this point, like we have like video game scores. We have body, mind, and soul, right? Like my body at that point was like, it went from like a 0 to like a 3, and then my mind went from like a 0 to like a, I don't know, maybe a 6. My soul was still pretty down low because I didn't really think about God very often. And that's only been like a recent thing, but we'll get there. At this point, what I really just needed was just a solid group of guy friends. That was really, really important to me. And I didn't know how to do that. There was a point where I was considering transferring schools too, just to look for that. I tried joining frats and going to parties, and maybe that was the right way to do it. And then I found my coworkers at work, and I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. And I hung out with them a lot, even until today. Like, I live with 2 of those guys, and I love them to death. And going to work and working with those guys showed me, like, it's possible to have a group of guy friends that you can just, like, hang around and be okay with and just be guys with, and it's awesome. Oh my god. And sometimes they do things without me, but that's okay. Like, they do their own shit. They invite me to a lot of things. It's different than what I used to, because I never really had a group of guy friends before I met those guys. I mean, now I have like multiple groups of guy friends. None of them as serious as that one, but just knowing I have a lot of shoulders I can lean on, and people can lean on my shoulders just in case, it gives you a sense of security, and that's really important. For, I would argue, body, mind, and soul. Speaking of soul, that summer I really, really, really wanted to go back to that camp I was at 2 years ago and be a camp counselor, make up for everything that happened. But they ended up rejecting me because obviously I wasn't Christian enough or whatever. And they got me thinking, like, if I want to do that, I'm gonna have to commit to Jesus at least a little bit. And that's currently something that I've been working on a lot this semester. I joined a Christian small group. I'm gonna go hang out with them later today. I'm going to church pretty often now, and it feels great. Now, in my life, I feel like since I worked out very, very consistently this past summer, my body is at like a 7 or 8. My mind is probably like 7 or 8. My soul is probably still like a 5. But it still needs improvement. But that's a lot better than what it was 2.5 years ago. All of them were at a 0. Every single one of those stats were at a 0. And in total, I've gained about 20 points. 20 whole points. That's 2/3 of 10, 10, 10, which is insane. And it proves that you can drag yourself out of hell. You have to drag yourself out of hell if you don't want to kill yourself or unalive yourself or whatever. You have to. If I didn't change my ways from the time I was 16 to now, I would be fucking dead. And obviously, like, I had more hardships in that time, but they were a lot easier to deal with because I gained that mental strength to just move on and keep going forward. And because of all these things, now I have myself a new girlfriend. And I'm happy with her. I'm not happy because of her, I'm happy with her. And that's great. And because of all these things, she's like genuinely attracted to me. Like, I have muscles. I'm smart now. I work hard. I go to church. What else could a girl want? I mean, obviously, maybe a taller guy, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. That's a black pill conversation. No, this is red pill conversation. Improve yourself, y'all. Come on. It's very possible. I know it's hard. It's hard for someone to just look at you and just be like, do better. Because that doesn't do a whole lot. But you need to focus specific facets of your life, one at a time, and tackle them and overcome them. And obviously, I'm not perfect. I have a very, very long way to go. But I'm good enough to where people are like wanting to be around me. I have a girlfriend that I'm happy with, and she's very happy with me. I have a future. And it gets me thinking to like, I did a speech when I was a senior in high school, when I was in the middle of all this. Even before I'd really done anything that difficult, where I was at a campfire and I was surrounded by people that were watching me tell this story, probably like 50 people. And I was telling them a little bit about my life, and I have little words written on the note card of things that I've overcome, like addiction, loneliness, etc. And me looking back now, like I hadn't overcome those things, but it's about the concept, right? I was telling the story, and then let's just say I'll talk about like me quitting nicotine again. Like I was like, oh, and then I quit, and then I threw the word that said addiction into the fire, and it was very powerful. And I want to be able to do one of those again because of how inspiring that was just to a lot of people. Because I have so many more note cards I can throw into that fire, and that's really important. You need to throw those bad habits, those bad ideas of yourself into that fire. I think this is it, y'all. Y'all have a good one.